Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back from the LG Studios here in New York City. I'm axeltoss, joined by axslav. I'm currently watching the Premier League of WCS America, the round of 32. Again, top 2 in the groups move on to the round of 16. Currently watching Snute and TheOgnis. It's the first match of the night, so if you're just now joining us, get some popcorn, get some drinks, settle down, because we've got a lot more StarCraft coming your way. Speaking of which, game 2, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay,
Let's do it. Of course, the first game, Snute had a really nice banging attack, but TheOgnis had even better defense.
Yes.
He was looking so good.
So good.
And then he left his base open, and of course, the second volley came in there and finished them off. So TheOgnis looked really good that first game until that critical mistake. That Snute really took advantage of that critical mistake.
Snute kind of had to win with that next attack.
Yeah,
because if we imagine the amount of investment he put into that, his economy compared to his opponent, again, we said it, TheOgnis had a 10 harvester lead.
And better tech.
And 3 mules and better tech. So it's a situation where TheOgnis needs to identify, okay, what are the things that can happen where I can lose this game? One of those things, first thing, he might have should have thought of was if my opponent follows up with another attack right now. But TheOgnis, again, unable to identify that. He's going to be down 0-1. But here we are in game number 2. It's going to be on Cloud Kingdom. In the top right-hand location, representing Team Liquid. From Norway, he is Snute. Currently up 1-0, he's 1 win away from advancing to the winner's match of the night. His opponent in the bottom left-hand location, the Red Terran player who looked super strong in game number 1. Representing Team Root Gaming, hailing from the United States of America, he is TheOgnis.
You know, one thing I really hope that TheOgnis doesn't do is I hope he doesn't get too shaken by that last game. You know, you just have there, you play great, but then you lose for an oversight, and sometimes it can mess up your game plan, whereas what you really need to do, his game plan and execution was all great up until the last, 15 seconds of that game.
Yep.
And if you just make sure you identify that and don't let that mentality affect the rest of your game, it's going to be great.
Yeah, do not count TheOgnis out of this. Do not count him out. He is down 0-1, but definitely capable of winning 2 in a row. By the way, that being said, guys, send these guys your encouragement. They are playing right now. They are, we are live right now. So their Twitters, TheOgnis is at Root TheOgnis, but the T is the same, right? Root ends with T, and TheOgnis starts with T. So it uses the same T in Root and TheOgnis. So it's like Root. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Snute is at Liquid Snute. No clever combination of words there. But definitely follow these guys on Twitter, because I assure you they read their tweets, and if you wish them good luck, they will definitely appreciate it.
So TheOgnis again going for the command center first. I really like how he hasn't let that first game shake the faith in his build, because I do think his build is great. Your point that a lot of Terrans like to open up with that Reaper, TheOgnis doesn't apparently.
Yeah.
He says, you know what? Fancy micro tricks aren't for me. I'm going to make a lot of guys, and I'm going to go and just smash my opponent.
Of course, there's give and take with every build.
Yes.
When you're deciding to go for the command center, sure, you're not going to have that ability to do that fancy Reaper stuff in the beginning, but your economy might be much better as the game goes along, and you can, inevitably, you can rely on that SCV to get that scouting done. We saw TheOgnis clicking on that gas, making sure, all right, there's definitely not an extractor there. Don't have to worry about early speedlings, early banelings, anything like that. So TheOgnis, I think it's a bold move from him. It just shows his play style of wanting to get to that mid game, wanting to get to the late game, and wanting to get there as fast as possible, and just really focusing on his economy in the early part of the game.
Definitely going to be his focus here. We see a little bit of a deviation from Snute. He's not getting the gas quite as fast as he got last game. Of course, he could still do a similar build if he gets the gas fairly soon. But, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. His opening with the Roaches really didn't work out too well. I mean, he made a lot of Roaches early. And yes, he didn't take too much damage, but he didn't really get any offensive capabilities done. And for making 7 Roaches, you do want to get at least a little bit amount of damage done. So this game, actually getting 2 gases at once now. So he's going to be looking to tech up.
Yeah, 35 out of 36 on the Harvesters before deciding to throw down those gas geysers. Focusing on the Queens, it looks like. He's about to go up to 4 Queens at the 5-minute, 30-second mark of the game. Of course, that does allow for, extra creep spread, transfuses a little bit later, consistent injections on hatcheries. And we see TheOgnis across the map here with the SCV, checking on that third base. He's going to look at the front a little bit, but doesn't see anything too scary. What is TheOgnis looking for right now?
He's really looking to see the third base timing is very important. Also, seeing even a creep tumor being laid down by the Zerg often tells you what's going on. If he notices a creep tumor this early on, he can tell the Zerg is not doing some crazy 2-base all-in, because if they were, they would only get 2 queens and really focus on those injects. So actually seeing that gives him a little bit of a tip-off that there's nothing too crazy going on, but really would have felt much more comfortable if he saw a third base.
Yeah, we see a layer going down here for Snute. A little bit interesting not electing to take that third just yet. Instead, going to focus on the tech in the early stages of this game, adding on 2 evolution chambers behind this TheOgnis, placing down a third command center once again. Really loves his econ, really loves his macro. Making some Hellions here out of that factory. Not a significant gas investment, of course, but up to 2 gas is already fairly standard indeed. Going up to Stim, so not looking like he's going to go into any of that Hellbat stuff, any of the mech stuff, just sticking with the bio. And again, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw 2 engineering bays once again coming down fairly soon here.
I wouldn't be surprised either. He may be a little bit worried because he hasn't seen that third base, but he also hasn't seen any units leave Snoot's base. So I think he's identified it as a 2-base tech build. And always the question is, what is the Zerg teching to, right? I mean, typically it's usually muteless, but there are some, some speed Roach builds out there as well.
Absolutely. It's hard to know for sure. So, scanning is definitely an option, but as far as keeping your Hellions on your opponent's side of the map, that can be a great way as well. As long as you control that watchtower, you can see if anything is coming out of your opponent's side of the map. Make sure you have Hellions at the third base. Watch for the hatchery, watching for any potential flanks or floods in there. Even poking his Hellion into the natural expansion, taking a glance at these evolution chambers, not seeing any spines, but seeing 2 queens there. Going to try to muscle by again, but that's going to be unsuccessful, trying to get some scouting off. So TheOgnis doesn't necessarily know what's going on. We have 10 Roaches in production here from Snute, now 11, but I feel like, again, this is going to be one of those transitionary things. He has a melee upgrade in production, which means, Roaches obviously they're not benefited by that, so that melee upgrade is a long-term thing. So I feel like Snute making a lot of Roaches here, a little bit more than last game, but is going to be droning behind it, is going to take a third base, and going to go back into the Ling-Baneling type play.
It does look like that way. The fact that he's getting the upgrades for the melee units means he probably wants to play a speed Roach, speed Baning style of assault. This many Roaches this early, though, he's definitely looking to get some damage done right when Roach speed finishes to try to equalize the economy. Because remember, TheOgnis with that third CC is going to be ahead in macro unless Snute can do something. But this is a lot of Roaches crossing the map right now. 3 bunkers immediately added on by TheOgnis. The difference between Whirlwind Game 1 and Game 2 Cloud Kingdom, the rush distance is much shorter, so TheOgnis has less time to react. However, 3 bunkers immediately go down. He already has Marauders here as well. I don't see this doing a significant amount of damage here for Snute. He's going to be able to get some SCVs as they try to repair. Overseer in with, they're able to help pick off the Widow Mines.
Way too many Marauders there. More SCVs coming, being pulled here to try to target down this bunker as far as repairing is concerned. Roach is trying to muscle their way through, but we got a campfire of a bunker here. The SCVs just chilling around it, waiting for their turn. But Snute getting a decent amount of worker kills, up to 11 workers killed. I feel like TheOgnis is going to eventually hold this off, but not before losing a significant amount of workers there. 16 now.
Hard to tell who got the better end of that trade. I mean, Snute definitely needed to get those workers killed, but was it enough to equalize the economy? It's going to be a very even game from here on out, I think. Of course, Snute actually does have a 15-worker advantage because of that critical damage he dealt early. But on the other hand, TheOgnis now has a great timing potential with a very Marauder-heavy army. He's got a lot of barracks up. Potentially, he could put on some good pressure on Snute. Remember, Snute has no way to deal with drop super effectively. There's no Mutilus, there's not even any Hydralists in place. So drop play could be a great way for TheOgnis to try to get some return damage.
Pathogen glands actually being researched here by Snute, so intending to go into the Infestor production, which is a little bit interesting. We haven't seen that too much lately because people have been saying, oh, Infestors are bad now. In Heart of the Swarm, we're seeing more Mutilus type play, I feel, but very interesting indeed. Might get a Hive fairly soon so you can continue with the 3-3 upgrades and then potentially go into Ultralisk, so I wouldn't be upset about that at all. But yeah, Snute going for Infestors, Lings, and Banelings. So do you see this composition working out for him?
I think it will if he can land the Fungals right and connect the Banelings. His upgrades are actually going to be ahead of TheOgnis's for a little while. TheOgnis still hasn't even started 2-2 yet, so things are looking very good for Snute. He's even going straight to Hive. We could see potential Ultralisk pretty soon.
All right, TheOgnis trying to protect this third base. Nice around here from Snute. No Banelings in the mix, though, so isn't going to have that ridiculous AoE to help him out. But so many Lings and Roaches coming forward here, trying to take down the bio of TheOgnis. And during all of this, Snute is denying the third base of his opponent while going into 4 bases of his own and doing a great job. So TheOgnis, his economy is going to be pretty delayed here. He's been restricted to 2 base for such a long time, and Snute's going to be very happy about that fact.
He definitely is. The pressure is now on TheOgnis to really get some good counter pressure. Oh,
that
great
is so
move by Snute.
sexy. 2 overseers being sent to contaminate the 2 engineering base. I love it.
Of course, TheOgnis is now able to push Snute back from that third base, but no, Snute with the counter pressure comes back in. The Widowmines are still on cooldown. Overseer's been taken out though, so the Widowmines aren't going to be picked off. And Snute is going to have to give up this position, but I think he's happy with the amount he's delayed that third base so far.
Yeah, I mean, and he's okay sacrificing these units as long as he can delay this third, because what's happening here is Snute, again, he's taking a third and a fourth, so he's going to be able to get those resources much more quickly than his opponent, which means he can be more willing to trade all of his units, because again, he's getting more resources. Sure, he's going to be down, and actually he's up in resources lost here, so Snute is going to be happy with all these engagements.
He definitely is. Of course, going for the adrenal glands, the third carapace upgrade as well. There's the Ultralisk Cavern. TheOgnis is now kind of on a ticker with Snute's economy. As soon as he can get a couple Ultralisks out combined with the Infestors, it's going to be a very tough army for TheOgnis to break. TheOgnis, though, he's got his little force over the top left, going in here, and there's nothing here to defend for Snute.
Gonna try to take down some drones, but here comes some Lings and Infestors, and the Infestors mean the medevac might not go anywhere. The Queen trying to target that guy down, the Queen getting down to very low in health, but TheOgnis unable to take him out. The medevac is now gonna be very lonely indeed without any of his friends to help him out. TheOgnis trying desperately to secure this third base, but once again, Snute is gonna try to prevent that from happening. Lots of Widowmines here. Snute gonna start peeling away some Lings to absorb that damage. And look at this army he's amassing outside of TheOgnis' third base. He has to have a miraculous hold here.
He definitely does. Snute may not even try to risk it. Waiting for Ultras is probably the safer play, as he's really cranking out a lot of upgrades right now. TheOgnis with a second factory that'll help him produce those Widowmines even faster. TheOgnis, though, he's got to find a way to hurt Snute, because right now it's been all about Snute hurting TheOgnis. Wow, he's going up to 4 bases. Wow, he's teching to Ultralisk.
Yeah, and there's nothing stopping him from doing that, and this is due to the fact about the amount of pressure he's applying to TheOgnis, not letting TheOgnis breathe, restricting him on 2 bases for so long. So rather than TheOgnis thinking about going for this harassment stuff, he's been having to think about priority, right? Taking that third base, getting his economy up and running, but here come the drops from TheOgnis, dropping his opponent's natural expansion. No static D there just yet. Gonna get some drone kills, but again, we have to examine, is this worthwhile at the same time? Sending an army across the map here towards his opponent's 4th base, but Ultralisk are now in the field. 3-3 about to finish. Chitin is plating. Snute, I don't know if there's even a timing here available for TheOgnis.
There's definitely action over a counterattack from Snute at TheOgnis' third, while TheOgnis is attacking Snute's 4th base.
Gosh, we got drops at the natural expansion. Snute trying to deny that third once again, but Snute gonna go for it, trying to get rid of this bio army. Plenty of ultras here from Snute, and he's gonna sweep up and kill that entire army from TheOgnis. Meanwhile, the Lings trying to delay the third at the very least, doing a great job there. Meanwhile, the drop is getting a lot of damage done here from TheOgnis, and he's slowly but surely closing that supply gap. Oh my god, 76 Lings in production, by the way.
That's going to give Snute a lot of mobility here to deal with TheOgnis. TheOgnis tried that counter swing. He got some damage done, a lot of damage specifically at that natural with that drop. But
if he had hit before Ultras, that would have been fantastic. But right when he marched up there, all the Ultras are out. And look at all these units, Mr. Axslav.
The problem is Snute with 4 bases can replenish the losses so easily here. Now on 3-3 upgrades, whereas TheOgnis is only at 2-2.
More drops happening from TheOgnis, dropping at the 4th base and at the natural expansion, trying to delay the inevitable attack. Oh my god, look at these banelings from Snute. Definitely going to go for some huge aggression onto that 3rd base. TheOgnis again trying to distract, trying to delay, trying to do anything to keep Snute at home, but I don't think that's going to stop him. He scans it too.
He's going to need some like money Widowmine hits to find a way to make this work.
Also, remember the upgrades.
Oh yeah, Snute's ahead in upgrades. His army's stronger. The composition, I would argue, is actually more cost efficient as well with the Infestors and Ultras added in. TheOgnis, though, he's got a decent defensive position behind his little barricade there. Let's see if it's enough for him to survive this. Oh, if you get the Infestor with the Widowmine hit.
The Infestors throwing out the Infested Terrans, which are going to soak up the Widowmines. But look at that. He unfurled the Widowmines when the Infested Terrans were thrown out, but it doesn't matter. Snute coming in with so many Lings, so many Banelings. This is the swarm of the 3rd base. Snute going straight into that 3rd base, going to the natural as well. How do you stop this as a Terran player? Too much stuff here from Snute. TheOgnis trying to figure out, how do I deal with this? Some decent Baneling hits with those Widowmines, but there's the GG from TheOgnis, and Snute takes the 2-0. Wow. What a game, what a series.
What a fitting way to see the end of the first series of the WCS America Heart of the Swarm Premier League content. The Swarm really just pushed through there. Snute's macro was out of control, man.
Gosh, and you know, just the momentum and pacing of that game, I think it is what really told the story. As far as Snute restricting TheOgnis to 2 bases for so long, TheOgnis was desperately trying to take that third over and over and over again. Snute's like, no, sorry, you're on 2 bases, you're staying there. I'm taking a third and a fourth. My economy's going to get ridiculous. I can be still cost efficient at the same time. And then, of course, just Snute being everywhere on the map, just keeping on top of his injects so he can keep remaking unit after unit after unit, and then that just led him to, it's just having more stuff than his opponent, having more economy, and then once you get an army that size with 3-3, I don't know what you do.
It's very, very tough. TheOgnis behind in upgrades the whole game. You know, he really misses 2-2 timing in a big way there.
Yeah.
It definitely hurt him, and then I think he overreacted a lot to that
Contaminate
first rush.
with the overseers.
Yeah, that was a great play.
It was fantastic. Snute literally had 2 overseers, and they each had one job. You contaminate one engineering barrier, you contaminate the other, and he did it perfectly, and that gave him a huge upgrade advantage throughout the game. It potentially delayed TheOgnis' 2-2 timing push. That could have been great hitting before ultras. But again, very well played there from Snute, and he's going to advance on to the winner's match. TheOgnis not out of it. This is double elimination, so he's going to drop down to the loser's match. He can still win 2 in a row, but that's going to be a tall task indeed. So guys, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have the next match of the night. It's going to be Vibe against the STC you're watching, the Premier League of WCS America. Stay tuned.